I want you to know, you might be getting up today and you might be thinking, what the hell have I done with my life? I don't really have a future. I want you to feel better because I'm going to introduce you to Stephen Kent. He is a guy who has focused, I believe, his entire life on Star Wars. And, knows everything about it. And he has been able to eke out a career.
A good one.
A good one.
Seems to be doing really well.
A good one. But
the American dream is alive.
Yeah. You really have. I mean, you've taken this and you've taken the Star Wars mythology and all of the imagery, and you can so easily learn lessons from today and politics and everything else from Star Wars. Now you have a new book, How the Force Can Fix the World.
Oh, yeah. We thought it should be How the Force Could Fix America, and then I went into one of those editorial meetings with your publisher, and they're like, but what about the world? Guys, I think this is shooting a little bit too big right out of the gate. But, yeah, everything that we face, I think particularly like in the West and American society, that we see breaking, whether it be sort of democratic norms, enmity towards our neighbors, political polarization. These are trends happening all across the world.
Okay, so let's take... Did you see the woman, I think it was on CNN, who said, these women in Virginia, they're just disgusting and stupid. I'd like to know, how can I connect with them? And I think by not saying the first part of that question is probably the answer.
Yeah, something like that. I was actually looking at that this morning, and it's one of those case in points for how when you watch a lot of Star Wars, you see a lot of weird connections that I think other people would not otherwise see. This woman, Amy Siskind, she said, I join others in being dismayed and disgusted by these women. She's talking about Virginia voters. I don't know how to reach non-college educated white women. The women I can connect with and influence are college-educated white women. I'm open to suggestions, she says. I'm glad. The book, Chapter 1, deals with Star Wars and the virtue of humility, which is this thing which I think is hard to find in today's culture, whether it be like Facebook serving us up exactly what we want to see all the time, Twitter echo chambers and us talking to only our own people. But then I was actually thinking, so what's the Star Wars analogy here? And it actually is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Everyone's favorite movie.
Yeah. Well received.
No, so there's this great story in there where the planet has been invaded.
May I guess?
No, please.
Okay. That woman should have never been created. Is that the lesson? That's the lesson I get from Episode 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's the kind of enmity we're trying to wipe away from our society.
All right, okay.
No, it's all about the Gungans, right? So the Gungans, these incredibly annoying fish hybrids that live on the planet of Naboo. How does Queen Amidala in that movie repel the Trade Federation who have invaded that planet in that movie? She doesn't go to the Gungans and say, I know y'all are fish. I know you're kind of disgusting and you smell bad, but we've all been invaded by these droid armies. I really would like your help if you can find time from being uncivil scolds. That's not what she does. The woman takes a knee and says, we beg of your help. We respect and the mutual greatness of our societies. We need you in this moment. That's not a direct quote.
But wait, didn't they give birth to Jar Binks?
They did. Someone who it's easy to hold contempt for.
Again, the one thing that you learn, don't make this episode.
The subtext of the movie matters a whole lot. There's this interesting line when she goes to the Gungans for help to get this thing in this moment. Boss Nass, the guy who heads up the Gungans, I'm not going to say it in Gungan speak, but in the King's English here, he says, you said no thinking you greater than the Gungans? I like this. Maybe we can be friends. He only hated the Naboo and Queen Amidala because he thought the Naboo thought they were better than them. And that was why he was willing to let them die in that movie and be ruled by the droids until she expressed that, no, we don't think we're greater than you. We need your help. There's a lesson to be learned in that for all of us when how we are trying to relate to people who we want to join us in coalition in politics. It's all about contempt. Do you remember Anderson Cooper after the January 6th riot, whatever you want to call it, when he mentioned that all the people involved in the Capitol storming event were going to be going back to Olive Garden and the Holiday Inn with this sort of sneer, oh man, these normal people going to Olive Garden, the greatest restaurant in America, with a white tablecloth that normal people go to feel like they're having a nice dinner with their families and feel good about themselves. I spent the majority of my 20s going to that restaurant because I barely had any money in my bank account, and I wanted to take my daughter and my wife to a nice place where someone took our order and a white tablecloth meal. Olive Garden was that place.
Yeah, I used to go to Olive Garden all the time until I married an Italian.
Right. Yeah.
Now she won't even let me look at one.
I still ask to go every Father's Day because I want the infinite breadsticks.
So can I go back to something you said? What was that quote that you said in the King's English? Could you give that again?
Yeah, I mean, so Boss Nass says to them, "Yousa no thinking yousa greater than the Gungans? We'sa like this. Maybe we can be friends."
So my question is, did anyone think you would have a success in life? You memorized that. I mean, there's got to be somebody in your life that went, son.
There's something wrong with me. I remember when I first started the Beltway Banthas podcast, which both of you have been a guest on.
And it's great. It is really good. I'm giving you a hard time.
You're complicit in what has happened to me.
Yeah.
But I remember my dad gave me a pat on the shoulder over dinner. He was like, "Son, don't let this become a distraction." 5 years later, it's all I do.
Yeah.
So here we are. But
good for you. Sorry, Dad. I think of the one quote that I remember from, I don't know, episode one of the first three. This is the way a republic ends, or this is the way freedom dies, something like that.
With thunderous applause.
Correct. I think of that all the time. What do you look at and say, this is the Star Wars story happening right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, it has to be popular consent for things that take away your freedoms. I think my sort of waking up moment as a political person was, of course, the post 9/11 era, the Patriot Act, and, the government being willing to just take everything that it can get with the popular consent of the people who want to be safe. We all understand that. And we're all looking at the pandemic very much the same way. This is never going to end. They're going to take as long as there are people saying, please keep us safe. We never want to be in harm's way. That's real. And I love that line a lot. But one thing that I also go to is in episode 2, Padme and Anakin are having their little date in the field on Naboo. It's an awful scene.
Yeah,
it's
horrible.
It's really
fast forwarded through that.
It's really like one of the worst acted scenes in the movie. But it's really important, and for this reason, Anakin and Padme are talking about politics and how it should work. And she says, "What kind of system would you like?" And Anakin says, "I want a system where the politicians sit down and discuss what's in the best interest of the people, and then they do it." And she says, "Well, that's what we already do, but the trouble is people don't agree." He says, "Well, they should be made to. Who's going to make them? You? Not me, someone wise." Right there is the totalitarian instinct that a lot of us have. A lot of us have little dormant totalitarian tendencies that we say no to because we believe in liberty. We believe in it despite the things that we want to control.
So can you tell me, and this is an honest question.
By the way, that's 100 times more than I took out of that scene. Just what you just said. I
think it's the most important one.
I remember, once you said it, I remembered that too. I blocked it from my memory because all of those are so bad. But, this is an honest question.
Yeah.
How can the people who are writing and filming these damn things not understand the point?
Because they always think it's about the other people out there who don't see the world they do. They're always looking at their movies and going, yeah, we love freedom, but those other people don't. We have a special knack for putting masks on people that we don't see the world the same as or who we don't agree with, and cartoonizing their points of view. And in Star Wars, you see this in every single movie. Bad guys wearing masks, and then heroes who have the task of trying to see past them and know that there is a person under there whether it be cute boy Kylo Ren or Darth Vader. Like, it is the call of heroes to try to rise to the occasion on that, unmask people and treat them like people.
So what I got from that is that Fauci is a Sith Lord.
It's hard. It is hard not
to. Yeah,
it is hard not to, and it's kind of one of those things. It's just like when the guy is given sort of the mandate to rule, keep everybody safe, and you just see no inkling of a possibility that this guy's going to let it go. Like, it's going to be the forever pandemic, it's endemic. And what does that mean for the public health establishment, that they're always going to be around? You saw what they did last year where they got rid of eviction moratoriums. The CDC getting involved in housing, it's incredibly egregious. And we cannot just like sit back and applaud that they're going to do this. Nobody elected them to do anything like that. They're giving away our freedoms step by step. Eventually, we're going to have to accept reasonable risk and get back to life.
The name of the book is How the Force Can Fix the World. There is one thing that I've always appreciated from you is...
Only one?
Don't push me. The fact that you can take lessons from popular culture, because Stu and I were talking about this earlier today. Everything is gone. If it wasn't for podcasts and honestly talk radio and up to a point Fox News, this country would be over because there would be no opposition to any of it. There'd be no opposition in the mainstream. But we've lost our churches, we've lost our schools, we've lost many of our organizations. The Boy Scouts are doing, there's a for equity and justice, there's now a patch for it. So we've lost everything. But there are a few stories that still teach truth, and Star Wars is one of them.
It's four generations of truth in that story, just the longing for freedom and the tension between wanting order and then wanting to breathe free. That's what this story has always been, and it's something that I'm encouraged by, because even when we know that like the left wing, meddles in popular culture, they meddle in Star Wars too, just like they meddle in everything. The message has still kind of always been the same, which is that if you give away too much, you're never going to live free. And there's going to be people who rise together to stop it. And I think some of the details, we get really too hung up on those. And Star Wars is this story that as everything that we share together starts to crumble around us. I'm not suggesting we replace the Bible, but if you come at somebody with like Bible verses first thing, they're not going to be listening to you if they're not a person of faith. But why don't you talk to them about the idea?
I think this is a perfect script. I mean, this teaches the scriptures, just not in script. This is the message. Yoda could be Jesus. I mean, in many ways, he teaches exactly the same things.
And that chapter I told you about with like humility and just taking a knee before someone that you need their help.
Yeah.
The whole chapter ties the Phantom Menace to Matthew 18. The idea that we need to be as children if we are to be true followers of Christ. And that requires us to be humble and know that we need help from others.
The name of the book is How the Force Can Fix the World by Stephen Kent. It's available everywhere. I want you to hold on because I have one more question for you, but we got to take a quick break. Caring about your dog's health and happiness makes you a good dog owner. Sometimes being a good dog owner means realizing that your dog isn't getting all the things that he or she needs in the food that you feed them. Dry kibble food it has no nutritional value. It's sterilized to sit on the shelf forever. Your dogs eat it because they're hungry, but if you want to feed them something other than really, honestly, Twinkies, how healthy would your kids be if they lived on that? You can add the minerals and the vitamins and the probiotics and all of the things that have been cooked out of this, still feed them the kibble food, and I'm telling you, I've seen a huge difference in my dog, Uno. You can get a free bag of Rough Greens right now for your dog to try out. Just make sure that they love it. If they do eat it and love it as much as Uno does, then order the full bag and get started and watch your dog change over a couple of months. Roughgreens.com/Beck, RUFFgreens.com/Beck. Call them today. We have Stephen Kent in How the Force Can Fix the World. I'd love to have you back. You're really a fascinating guy. Have you seen Dune?
I have seen Dune, and I finished the book for the first time the week before I went and saw it in theaters.
And have you seen Foundation yet?
I have not seen Foundation. Looks amazing, and I subscribe to Apple TV just to watch it.
Okay, so I've seen both of these now, and obviously Star Wars. I think Dune makes Star Wars look like a cartoon.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's a very mature, long form story in a very different kind of way. It's the difference between watching Game of Thrones, I don't know, in an animated series on the Middle Ages.
Right. And then I think Foundation is even better. I mean, Foundation is Isaac Asimov. So I think it's the first real sci-fi book, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It has the deepest history, and it stars that guy who plays Lane Price from Mad Men. So I've been dying to watch it.
It is it's amazing how the through lines, like I said earlier, how did these people not see that they are making the movie and they're the bad guys in real life?
What's the premise of Foundation, if you could enlighten me?
Really? As the theme music comes up?
It's that deep, huh?
It is. Quite amazing. Thank you so much, Stephen, for being here. The name of the book is How the Force Can Fix the World. See you tomorrow.